It was just another evening in New York City. People crowded the subway platform, their faces tired from a long day. The lights flickered above, casting strange shadows on the walls. Some say the shadows were only tricks of the light, but others, well, they knew better. Among the crowd was young Sam, an 11-year-old boy who loved exploring the city with his dad. They had spent the whole day at a museum, and now they were waiting to catch the subway back home. Sam was staring down the dark tunnel, waiting for the train, when he noticed something odd. In the dim light, he saw what looked like a person standing further down the platform, only this person was covered in shadows, so dark that Sam couldn't make out a face. The figure didn't move. It just stood there, watching. "Dad," Sam whispered, tugging his father's sleeve, "do you see that person over there?" His dad squinted. "I don't see anything, buddy. Just tired people waiting for the train." But Sam knew what he saw, and as the train pulled into the station, he glanced back down the platform. The shadowy figure was gone. The train screeched to a stop, and Sam and his dad stepped inside. They found seats in the middle of the car, surrounded by people reading newspapers, staring at their phones, or quietly talking. Sam looked around, hoping to shake off the weird feeling that something was watching him. And then, the train lights flickered. The subway car jolted, the lights dimming until they were barely visible. The crowd grew quiet as people looked around, confused. The only sound was the clattering of the wheels echoing through the tunnel. Sam's heart started to race. The lights blinked back on, and that's when Sam saw him. Sitting at the end of the subway car, a shadowy figure, just like the one he saw on the platform. Sam's breath caught. The figure had no face, only darkness where eyes should have been. It looked straight at him, its head tilted as if studying him. Sam nudged his dad. "Dad, look! It's here! That shadow person." His dad looked over but saw nothing. "Sam, maybe you're just tired. There's no one there." Sam looked back down the car, but this time, the shadowy figure was gone. Had he imagined it? He shook his head, trying to convince himself that it was all just his imagination. But then the train came to a stop at the next station, and people shuffled on and off, filling the car with new faces. Just as the doors were about to close, Sam noticed something in the reflection on the train's window. The shadow was there, standing directly behind him. He spun around, but there was no one behind him. The shadow was gone. The train rumbled forward, speeding through the tunnel, the walls flashing by outside the windows. Sam clutched his dad's arm. He could feel the shadow's presence, even if he couldn't see it. He whispered, "Dad, I'm scared. Something's here, and it's watching me." His dad wrapped an arm around him. "There's nothing to be afraid of, Sam. It's just a train ride." But Sam knew better. The shadow was following him. The train pulled into another station. The doors opened, but no one stepped on. In fact, the station was completely empty. Sam peered out the window, scanning the platform, but there wasn't a single person in sight. It was as if this station had been forgotten by the world. Then, Sam saw it. Standing on the empty platform was the shadow figure, staring right at him. The figure slowly lifted its arm and pointed at Sam, as if calling him or warning him. "Dad, look!" Sam shouted, his voice shaking. But when his dad turned to look, the platform was empty again. "Buddy, you're just imagining things," his dad said softly, but Sam could see a flicker of worry in his eyes. The train moved again, faster this time, plunging into the darkness. Sam tried to calm himself, but he couldn't shake the feeling that the shadow was right there, lurking in the shadows of the car. Then, the train stopped in the middle of the tunnel. Silence filled the car. The lights flickered once more, and the passengers looked around, confused and scared. The train didn't move. And then, there was a whisper. It echoed through the car, soft at first, then growing louder. "Come, come." Sam shivered. The voice sounded like it was right behind him, cold and hollow. He looked around, and then he saw it. At the very end of the car, the shadowy figure stood up, slowly making its way down the aisle, moving closer with each flicker of the lights. Sam clutched his dad's arm tightly. "Dad, we have to get off this train." But his dad looked around, not seeing the shadowy figure creeping closer. The lights flickered again, and this time, the shadow was only a few seats away, staring at Sam with hollow, empty eyes. It lifted its hand and pointed directly at him, its voice whispering in a voice that only Sam could hear. "Come with me." Sam's heart pounded. The shadow's voice was cold, so cold that he felt a chill spread through his body. He closed his eyes, wishing it would go away, wishing he could wake up from this nightmare. And then, with a loud whoosh, the lights came back on, and the train started moving again. The shadow was gone. Sam let out a shaky breath, his hands trembling. The other passengers looked around, confused but unaware of the terror Sam had just faced. The train pulled into the next station, and Sam and his dad hurried off, leaving the haunted subway car behind. As they stepped onto the platform, Sam glanced back one last time, half expecting to see the shadow staring at him through the train window. But there was nothing there, only his own reflection. That night, as he lay in bed, Sam couldn't shake the feeling that the shadow was still watching him, waiting in the darkness. He never looked at the subway the same way again, always wary of the shadows lurking in the corners. They say the shadow passenger still rides the subway, looking for someone to join him on his endless journey through the dark tunnels of New York City. So, the next time you're on a subway train and the lights flicker, be careful. You might not be alone. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more spine-chilling tales. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss a spooky story. Who knows? Maybe one day, you'll be the one telling us about your ghostly encounter.